You're listening to the AV-IT Amplifier. Each week, we'll feature voices and ideas that need to be amplified in the higher education and pro-AV IT communities. This show is brought to you by higheredav.com. And now here's your host, Ryan Gray.
Well, hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of the AV-IT Amplifier. As always, this is your host, Ryan Gray, and by that I mean I have taken over from the guest host who took over my show. I have reestablished control. I am back in the driver's seat, and not only am I in the driver's seat today, I am highly caffeinated because for today's guest, you cannot come in low energy. Oh. I'm just going to clear that up right now. You have got to be ready to go. You've got to be ready to talk, and you've got to have some enthusiasm behind what you're doing. So, Robyn, would you please say hello and introduce yourself to our audience? Who are you and what do you do?
Wow, I'm blushing. What a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much. High energy me, yes. My name is Robin Bryce. I am the special programs manager here at Yavapai College, and I'm a project manager, and what I'm working on right now is the immersive learning project, VR, XR. I'm bringing that to Yavapai College and in all kinds of fun ways.
Okay, so that's like 6 different things that you just said that you're involved in, and I think that kind of I want to talk with you in this first episode about kind of 2 things, which is how you see this technology moving, what the value is, and also how you balance and choose and pick your time a little bit. So, before we get into that, though, I'd like to also establish that I know in addition to your role as a program project manager, you're also an instructor here at Yavapai College.
I am. Yes, I teach in the Film and Media Arts Department. I'm teaching this semester Production 1 and Fundamentals of Video Editing, my favorite class here at the college.
Okay. So then real quick, when you're teaching those, and because I always, when I talk to instructors, it's always, what is the key to those classes that people don't think, right? Production and that sort of thing. Show them what to shoot, show them how to do it. How do you engage students beyond showing you what to do is to getting to the, why are students there?
I think the number one thing, I'm not sure if this quite answers your question, but building rapport and relationships with students. I think that's the most important thing when it comes to, really anything, not just students, but just your work relationships and everything like that. So building that rapport and those relationships, getting to know people, validating them and making them feel welcomed and you belong, right? You belong here. So I just think that that's really important. If you can do that, you can build some self-confidence with these students and basically, take them anywhere. They'll follow you anywhere.
I love that. So I saw a quote over the weekend. I'm sure it's not original to anybody. What it was saying is, if you have a choice between getting the right people or getting the right idea, get the right people, because the right people will take a bad idea and make it a good idea. But if you give a good idea to the wrong people, what I'm saying? It'll get messed up.
Disney Imagineers,
Exactly. Right. So it sounds like on that side, you're adopting that a little bit in terms of establish. It's more about the relationship with the person first, and then they can take the idea and run with it.
I believe that. Exactly. I think that I do take that into my work life as well. As I'm working on this project with the VR, that's how it all started was, finding people that were interested and then building those relationships and then giving them the authority and the power to what do you think this looks like? And, allowing them to go and congratulating them, giving them pats on the back and always saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. One of my favorite phrases is, I appreciate you. And I think that really speaks to people. We want to be appreciated. We want to know that we're doing a good job and the work that we're putting into it is worth it. And I appreciate everyone that I work with.
So that was awesome. And yeah, I will say that I can attest that, expressing gratitude is a key part of who you are. I think it's built into your fiber and your framework for sure. So you've taken on this thing of being the product or program manager, project manager for bringing immersive learning or whatever that words and stuff may mean to Yavapai College. How on earth did you get pulled into doing such a large undertaking?
This is one of my favorite stories. I think this is one of the moments in my life that validated me. I've been a teacher for 23 years, and then I moved to Yavapai College, first as an adjunct and then in the TELS role as an instructional designer. And the president had this like a tour. She was going around talking to people. And after the tour, I went up to her in my very Robin style. I was like, hey, I hear you're doing VR. You know that this is like really cool. And we have like this little window and there's a lot of cool stuff going on. And I was invited to a meeting with some higher ups to kind of maybe share some ideas or talk about it. And after the meeting, the prez called me and was like, hey, you should apply for this job. And so I did, and I got the job, and it's just been wonderful. I really do feel like everything I've done up until this moment of my life has prepared me. I've always been like into emerging technology. I always like to be innovative. I'm a curriculum creator. I like to work with teams. I just like to have fun. I love to bring, change about and something that's good for our community and for our students. So, I mean, just really being involved in this project, I think really brings all my essential skills together. And
That's awesome.
It was made for me. The job was made for me. Thank you, Janet Nix, for writing the job, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah, that was that job description went through some iterations. That was a fun one to work on. Okay, so when you say this project, because you've referenced in that Instagram, when I'm doing this project, what is this project?
Oh, what isn't this project? No, okay. So it, essentially we're talking about immersive learning. We're talking about VR, XR, emerging technologies. And it started off with, we got a grant for some headsets that we brought to the college, and okay, what are we going to do with them? And we found a team of people over at the Library Tech, and they've developed a wonderful flow to be able to share this with others, demos and things like that. So we got some, I know I'm all over the place here. This is so, edit this, make me sound good. So we got some teachers that came in and they embraced it. Our early adopters said, hey, I'm going to bring this to my classroom. And so we brought some VR experiences where students got to jump into the VR world and see things that maybe they never got a chance to see or engage in a way they didn't get a chance to engage. And not only is it happening in like places like art history and computer science, but we're also seeing it over in the C-Tech building, in automotive and electrical construction. And the project, it's such a beast. And it continues. We're looking at even writing curriculum so we can teach students how to make these worlds. Really, we're looking at the future of education, what this project truly is. It's not just about this VR experience. It's not just about this immersive world. It's about what education may look like 3-5 years down the road and what future jobs may look like. And it's not just about in the education world. It's about media and tech and entertainment and gaming. It really does like involve a lot of areas of not only the college, but also like the professional workplace world. And it's a project.
It's a project. Okay. So what then, what are the things that you're most excited about right now? What are the things that you can, because I want to dive into sort of, you rolled through some examples of we're using it for this and this and this and this. So we'll go through, but what is an application you've seen so far where a student's learning experience is different because of the injection of some experiential technology than what it was before?
I think, honestly, probably one of the cooler examples, I'm going to start with our very first adopter, which would have been Brandolyn Andrus, Dr. Brandolyn Andrus. She did art history. And so she brought in paintings and she put them in this immersive world. And the students had been talking about different art techniques or vocabulary, technical terms. And so she brought these students into this world to look at this and then, apply like these. It was very active participation, doing like sticky notes. But what I thought was the cool, like aha moments is to watch these students in the virtual world, like walk up to paintings, get so close to them in ways that they would have never been able to experience out of a book or out of a PowerPoint presentation, and to just see them like gaze at this. It was just like a really cool immersive experience. And I think those are the types of experiences that we could bring to our students, things that might be impossible or improbable. We can't take them to the Louvre, but we can bring a painting in there that they could get so close they could see like brushstrokes. And I thought that was pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you see it a little as kind of an experience we can't create in real life, this is a way to get a student an experience that otherwise we couldn't provide.
Yeah, actually, we have a kind of a framework, not just us, but it exists in this VR realm. It's called DICE: dangerous, impossible, counterproductive, or expensive. These things that exist that, we can't get inside an atom, but we can, bring a student inside there. We can eventually stick them inside a fire if they're firemen, but it's a low risk situation to be able to like set the room on fire in a VR world and then put them into it and then discuss their positives and their place, give them feedback in a safe environment. And again, it's like material cost savings, in like welding or different things like that, places that, lumber construction, all these different places that we can save a little bit of money before. There's never anything that's going to replace like hands-on. This is just like a step before they get to the actual environment to help build some confidence, help build some skills, some muscle memory, things like that. And the technology is only getting better. Like right now we have paddles, but we're already looking at technology that, hand tracking and things like that, and pass-through technology so you can see like the world around you. So there's a lot of cool innovation that's coming along in VR. I'm pretty excited about where this could go.
Okay, so, I agree. And when you talk about it doesn't, a lot of these things aren't going to replace the actual experience. And you mentioned in an earlier answer, CTech, something at our CTech campus.
Yes.
So what is our CTech campus? What do you even mean by that?
So it's our Career and Technical Education Center, right? It's where we have all of the trades, the skilled trades, right? Back in the day, we called it Votech School, but it's the same idea. We have construction going on out there. We have gunsmithing. There's like, 3D modeling, CNC, engineering, pre-engineering. I mean, there's all kinds of really fun courses that are going on. I don't even know, automotive, motorcycle, diesel. There's so many things going on out there. So what's really, and our numbers are getting really, really big, right? So a great example of how VR could really help a situation like this. Let's talk about auto, because I was just up there for an automotive experience with Bill Ham on Friday, going again next Friday after Thanksgiving. Go Bill. And his students are working on oil change. So while he can take a couple students into the actual physical lab to do some oil change, I could be inside the room, or another VR attendant could be in the room with the other students working on going through the lab to help them build some skills until they're like ready to go in there. And they'll I've seen the oil change experience. It's very, very cool. Like I feel kind of confident that I could probably change some oil. Yeah, maybe. But it's just experiences like that. And it helps with classroom management. It helps with just reinforcement of skills. And we get to track and see where maybe the students might have made a mistake and then be able to go back and have reflective conversations with them. I see you got stuck on this, you forgot to do this part of the experiment, or it took you a really long time to do this part of the, not experiment, but exercise. And then maybe walk through that with the student and then even do some one-on-one differentiated, instruction with them. So it has a lot of potential. In education for sure.
That's awesome. So have you've mentioned art history now, we're at a community college. So things like automotive and welding and these sorts of things are a huge part of what we do. And they all have hands-on components. So I know there's a big part of this that is, like you said, the DICE, getting people where they can't be otherwise, or in these cases, providing hands-on experiences that are low risk, or that before they get into true hands-on experiences. What other applications do you see for this type of experience? Do you ever, is there a role in English 101 for an immersive learning or VR-based experience?
Absolutely. I think that we can use VR to help with communication classes, getting up in front and talking in front of people, delivering speeches. We actually even have our early childhood education team that's interested in not only using this to teach their students, within a world, but using this to teach their students how to build these worlds, so that whenever, this generation of teachers is graduating, they can go on and include these immersive experiences into their classroom. We could have like history walks where people are going somewhere, that they have never been in history. This could be, like I said, speech and debate. They could debate each other up on the stage. I think that there's a lot of applications. Oh my gosh, there's one that's really cool. Victory XR, one of our partners in this, developed two for literature, which I think is really cool. One of them is the Great Gatsby escape room, which I think escape rooms are super fun. And another one is like To Kill a Mockingbird in the courtroom. So again, these are very, created for one type of experience, but we're even learning how to create these experiences. Our library staff and our instructional designers are learning how to create custom experiences. So when our English teacher does come to us and say, hey, I'm teaching this particular poem, maybe we can create an experience with that teacher, a very immersive experience, very interactive with animations and everything. And it's not even that far beyond our realm, not even like game development. The Victor XR platform itself allows for us to do some kind of animations and course development, which is very cool.
Nice. That's awesome. And so as you're going through now, and it sounds like finding the opportunities for these things in classes, or instructors are coming to you going, hey, I need something for this. What does that follow-up look like? How do you determine, that one went well, or maybe it didn't? This one's iterative, or I need to make a change here, or this is an avenue for growth in this area. What does your evaluation process look like?
I think that's a great question. Right now, some of our numbers, the metrics that we're looking at are just, are people enjoying the experience? Do they want to come back? We give a survey to the teachers to take for themselves and to give to the students. And our numbers suggest that students like it and they want more. They're enjoying what's happening. And all you have to do is be in the room. Again, just observational data to see the students come out and smiles and just, how was that? That was really cool. And it's honestly very transformative. I would say that's another like metric, like, is it working? We've had not only faculty, but students alike that before they get in, they're like, nah, I don't know about this. And then when they come out of it, it's like, oh, I totally understand, how this could be beneficial. We do want to start looking at data. How is this truly impacting, education? And so that's what we're going to start to look at, data coming into the spring semester and even moving into the fall. Now that we've got some ideas on how to implement this, thank you, instructional designers and TELS and the library tech team, Ustaza and James Ryder. Shout out to my people. But now that we have some of those systems in play, now we can maybe start to do some comparative data, a class that's, a teacher that uses it in one class but doesn't use it in another, to find like those successes and evaluate, is this working?
That's all. Okay. Yeah. That's awesome. So in the circles of higher ed AV and higher ed IT areas, there's a little bit of a meme or a feeling that like virtual reality is the wave of the future, and it always will be. And that every school goes through some cycle of people get excited about VR, but in the long run, it always falls out. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, is it your turn to go through that? We all did it before. What would you say to people who look at this and say, of course, it's the new 3D movies were going to be the next new thing until they weren't. VR is going to be the next thing until it's not. How do you see the longevity of VR, and keeping in mind that VR is not VR and immersive experience, not, VR is a part of creating immersive experiences. We all acknowledge that. But how would you, about VR in particular, talk about what you think the longevity of that style of delivery is?
I think that this run at VR feels different. I know that we've been trying it for a minute. I've had my HTC Vive, and I can remember some early days of, we should do VR field trips. There's something different about this run at VR. I think a lot more companies, I've seen like some major automotive companies that are using AR and VR within their systems, like their what people building cars, what are they called? Assembly lines. Assembly lines. And we just see some of the technology that's coming out. Things are being developed to be like lighter and better and more user friendly. I think that it just feels different. There's more people on board. We have more people creating for VR. It doesn't just feel like this kind of thing that maybe exists in these little pockets. I just see it infecting is not the right word, but I just see it like really reaching across a lot of different sectors right now, in the workforce world, in the education world, in the entertainment world, in the gaming world. These are definitely places that will drive this innovation forward. But I just feel like this run at it feels different, and I think that it's going to last longer and only going to kind of continue to develop. And that's just my little humble opinion.
Yeah. Do you see a future where all of our classrooms have a VR headset plugged in for every seat?
I think that we can have like labs that the teachers can take students. Maybe we can have some specialized classrooms, but necessarily with every student all the time inside a VR world, maybe not. Could we build experiences for every classroom? I definitely see their potential in practically every classroom. You give me some time and give me a list of classes, I could come up with, the SME, the subject matter expert, and myself and the instructional designer. I'm sure we can find out some ways that we can develop some VR for there. But I think that VR is not, at least the way that we're looking at it right now, is not meant for every class all the time, the whole semester. 2-3 experiences inside the VR, chance for like lab work for classes to come back out, and then again, you have to remember you have to have that real world experience as well. So yeah, that's kind of, I think that I think every student on campus will have an opportunity to experience it, but I just don't think that it's going to, happen all the time. And I'm looking forward to the time when we get to have students check them out and take them home with them to do some extra homework. I think that would be really cool. Some continued practice. I think that'll be fun.
All right. So I like that answer in that, that like any technology, it's the right application for it in the learning environment, right? Not, right. A whiteboard isn't the right tool for all teaching. A doc cam isn't the right tool, and VR may not be the right tool for it. So picking the spots where it can create a delta rather than adopting it just because it's technology. And
I like the way that you said that, because I often say this whenever people ask me about like, well, how do we use VR in class? Whenever COVID hit, I think is really whenever we started to see an uptick in teachers using a lot more, technology in their classrooms, some these tools that we have, these whiteboards and Jamboards and, Zoom calls and just these different things, these different technology tools that exist like online for distance learning and then just exist in general. We've been using whiteboards and exactly doc cams for a while. And that's exactly what the VR headset is it's a tool that we can implement into the classroom to elevate the student experience, to engage them, to help them with their understanding. We don't have them write essays every day. We're not going to have them do a VR experience every day. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So, moving forward from VR, I mentioned, right. VR is one part of a larger immersive learning thing. When you think about, what comes after VR, what is your next thing that we're looking at? What are the things you're looking at that you're going, okay, we may not be able to do this today, but we should definitely be looking at this in the future here at Yavapai College?
Well, when you're speaking with the immersive learning realm, I can talk about some things that we actually are doing, and then I will talk about some things I think we could do. So when you're mentioning immersive learning, one of the other things that we have is like a 2D environment, right? Because not everybody's going to jump into the 3D world. So we can create these like 2D simulations that students can access on their computer, and allows them to go through branching activities and really be critical and thinking in these experiences and give instantaneous feedback as well. And we're working with like Articulate 360 is one of the platforms, our instructional designer. So I just think that's another way to build these sims and simulations to help students be immersed. Case studies, all of this is also considered immersive learning. But where I see it going in the future, I would love for us to be able to build more, I think a digital twin would be really cool. So we can like work with recruitment and even have some fun social events with our student government. I would love to see AR applicable not only in like our courses to help students identify, like with overlays, this is where you do this, or this is what this looks like, or even working with our art students. I would love to have like an AR sculpture garden. I think that would just be so cool, just walking around campus, and we have our little YC app, and students can just immerse themselves in just little different, it's like Pokemon Go for Yavapai College. So I just think like a mix of some of the fun things that are out there. And honestly, I don't even know what I don't know. I rely so much on Ryan, like your tech team, to hear from like, Nick or Patrick to be like, look, did you see like what this is really cool. And just going to a lot of like webinars. And, I want us to be able to build our own worlds, not just with VR, but with AR. Like I said, I want to teach students how to do this, because it's not just about what we're doing here at Yavapai, but it's about our clients. It's about these students that we're that are graduating from us, that are coming to us and saying like, hey, here's my money, like teach me something. I want them to walk out of there and make more money than I ever dreamed of.
Nice.
Doing this. I think that would be really cool for them.
So going down that road in terms of not just using it, using technology or these, I don't know how to say, you know what I'm saying, like technology driven immersive experiences. But I know you're going down the road of working on certificates, degree programs, and things like that, like you said, to truly teach it and send students off with these credentials.
Yes.
How have you gone about developing out these programs, and how do you start with something that is so ever changing? These technologies are changing all the time. How do you go about building an academic progression that can last when you're talking about technology that we know is going to be different year after year?
Right. Well, I think first of all, it starts with teamwork, right? I can't do this on my own. Like I sit down with some people who know more than I do and ask for some suggestions. What do you think the future looks like? What do you know is like the current? And giving, the course progression that we have, it has a lot of coding in there. It has a lot of, game engine. It's not necessarily software specific, though we do teach some software in this idea of this curriculum, but it's also about theory and practice, so that as things continue to develop, you're taking these ideas, these foundational ideas, and you can change and grow with the software as it develops. And I imagine that we are going to have to relook at things. Do we need to add a class? Do we need to change this because things are changing? We're even looking at the FMA program, right? So we're looking at updating the FMA program to fit with some of these VR virtual productions that we're having. Look at like the Mandalorian and different things like that, and technology. So, not just in this particular VR program, but I think that across the campus in general, keeping your eyes on the future, encouraging that, innovation across the campus to see, well, what else can we do? What can I bring in here to make the courses even more relevant and to really prepare our students for what comes tomorrow? So, being informed and willing to change, I think is a good way. And you have to go through the processes. There's a whole curriculum committee. You can't just change things, knowing the process.
That's what I was going to say, being nimble and also meeting with academic processes, higher education everywhere. We like to be very processed and decently and in order and that sort of thing. And you're someone who's like, wait, there's something new. Boom, let's do it.
But honestly, I am like that, right? But people are, they've been willing to adapt with me and go with it. I think that's been really exciting. Is I feel like I'm shaking things up just a little bit, but people are like, they're riding the shake. It's fun.
I like, we just ride through the shake. Okay. So, as we come to the end of an episode, which is crazy because this goes fast, you have an honor in this show as the first guest from Yavapai College that I've ever had. So, you're welcome for this amazing honor that is. But part of that is because people who've listened to me talk a lot, one of the things that I talk about in terms of what we try and do with learning technology that I'm involved in is the notion that that a student going to Yavapai College in a semi-rural area of northern Arizona deserves just as good of a technology experience as someone who can afford the tuition at USC. And our 100. Challenge is to do that. And I hear you saying things like production level of the Mandalorian and that sort of thing. How does your commitment to trying to bring the best inform how you continue to operate at what is a rural community college?
Rephrase that question. We'll try one more time. What do you mean? Ask me one more time.
I'll ask it again. One of the things I struggle with, or I don't struggle with, but one of the things that is part of the thesis of what I work on is the paradigm is making sure we don't adopt the paradigm of just staying in our lane.
Right.
right? So when we talk about I don't want us to compare ourselves to Central Arizona Community College.
No.
I want us to compare ourselves to Arizona State,
Yes.
those sorts of places. How and I think you share some of that because what you talk about is ambitious.
Yes.
And it would be very easy to say, well, that's more than we can do. So how do you go about, one, keeping that perspective to look for the best that we can be, and then two, work with people inside the institution who may not share that same vision of what we should be doing as a rural community college?
Okay, well, once again, I think that working with people, it all comes down to relationships, right? And having those conversations and having some believing in what you're saying and some facts behind what you're saying definitely helps bring people on board. But I don't think I've ever thought that we were just, even in my 23 years of education, I've always been like, what else could we do?
Mm-hmm.
And let's be more, and we are more. And I just think that's, I don't know. That's kind of how I carry it through. We were Yavapai College. We're awesome. We do really amazing things here, and we have really amazing staff. So it's like the groundwork is already there. I just think people need to know all the wonderful things that we do. We have some really cool, innovative programs, not even just like what's going on in virtual reality. We have some teachers that already have their eyes on the future or are trying to bring, really quality education to our students in healthcare and in, the bachelor's program that we're doing. I mean, we're the first, one of the first community colleges to be doing this as bachelor's programs and stuff like that. So we have a lot of people on our campus that are already that future thinking, future proofing Yavapai College and seeing us more than just this little rural community college, because we are more than that. So I don't really find that I need to like pull people along a lot. They're mostly already there, Yes, let's be more, right? Be more.
Hey.
That's fit that in there. That's our slogan.
Perfect. Well done. Way to bring it around. Well, Robyn, you are certainly one of the people who I think helps us be more, helps keep one of the people that I can rely on relentlessly to be positive, to be energetic, and to be pushing things up and forward for the right reason for our students. So thank you from me to you. Thank you for all you do for Yavapai College. And thank you for sharing I hope, you see why I had to be caffeinated before I came to this, because you got to be ready with some energy. So thank you for bringing that energy, and thank you for bringing it to bear for the students that I choose to commit to every day.
Thank you, Ryan. Like, I think that you're amazing. I've said you that so many times. I think that you've been such a mentor and a support for me. I don't think that I would be where I would be if it wasn't some of our early conversations. So I just appreciate you.
I appreciate that. And I really am something. I think everybody should know that. No. So I'm too loud. If people wanted to kind of get in touch with you, learn more about what you're doing, or get connected, that they're listening, how would they go about finding you?
Well, I think the best place for them to check out, if they want to see some of the virtual experiences that we have, the library, there's a website on the library. You can just search Yavapai College virtual reality. You can sign up for a demo and come on in and see what we're doing. It's open to the community, not just like students and faculty. So we have weekly and monthly demos. Check out what they're doing there. But if you want to talk to me and collab, you have some ideas, you can reach out to me at the college, Robyn.Bryce, that's ROBYN.BRYCE @yc.edu. I would love to chat with anyone. Like I said, I love building relationships. I love people. So what you got, reach out.
That's right. I would encourage people to do so, and throw the warning out. I'm working on getting Robyn to InfoComm this year.
Yes.
So I don't know how crazy that'll get, but
it's going to be wild.
It's going to be great. Well, Robyn, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you for listening to the AVIT Amplifier. Tune in next week for more with today's guest. It'll be great, or your money back. Your host has been Ryan Gray. He's on the tweeters at Ryan_A_Gray, or find him on LinkedIn to connect. Please subscribe and give the show a rating and review wherever you get your podcasts. This show is brought to you by higheredav.com. The views expressed here are not necessarily those of our respective institutions, employers, or sponsors. Everyone hang in there, go easy, and we'll be back next week.